Okay, good morning, class. How is everybody doing? I hope you're very, very well, and I hope you have a really nice week of resting. So today I am going to teach you guys how to make the text block in order to make our project that we are learning in class, all right? Remember that the first thing that we have to do doing the text block is to make to count our pages and to fold them in half. We are going to be needing 50 pages. So remember, you need 50 pages in order to have a book of 100 pages. And if you want a book of 50 pages in total, you are only going to be needing 25. So this is my working space. My working space looks a little bit messy, but it isn't, I promise. It's because here's where I paint and where I do all my projects. So these are like remaining little marks from those projects, but it's completely clean. Also, my hands are really clean. I washed them before doing this project because we need our text block to be completely neat and organized, okay? Remember that this is a project that will take time, and that's why we are going to be needing to work in a very nice and neat and proper space to do it, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is to have our 50 pages folded in half. And what we are going to do is simply just align the corners. So you're going to grab your page vertically like this. And then you're going to align both of the corners. You have to make sure that they are very well aligned. And you do a little bit of pressure. And with your thumbs, you are going to fold it very nicely. All right? This is a repetitive process, so you can do it while you watch TV or while you listen to music or while you talk to somebody. It doesn't matter. The only thing is that you have to make sure that your sheets align perfectly. Remember, if you do not align your sheets, your paper is going to be all cranked up, and at the end, the project isn't going to be looking really nice. So the only thing we have to do once again, align the corners of our paper and then fold it in half, all right? Don't overdo it. It is not necessary to have like a perfect fold. You just need it to be in half, all right? Remember, if you are very neat, the project is going to be easier ahead. If you are not, then it's going to be a little bit harder. Remember that when you are folding a page, you don't fold it like this. You have to fold it neatly, right? Otherwise, our final book is not going to look nice. So I'm just going to keep working here, and the video is going to be fast forwarded so you guys know what we are doing, okay? There we go. You could ask for help from your parents or somebody, it doesn't matter. But I believe that repetition is the key to success. And if you want to develop a very good motor skills, some very good motor skills, you're going to have to do this yourself. It is not hard, it is not dangerous. You can fold the paper in half. The only risk here is to have a paper cut that I know hurts a lot, but we are going to trust ourselves. We are going to do it anyways, all right? There we go. Also, you have to make sure that you only fold one page at a time, all right? It is super, super important, because otherwise, if you grab the whole bunch and just fold it like this, it's not going to work, right? It's not going to look nice, and it's not going to have the folds that we need in order to make our signatures, and also in order to do our sewing of the book, do our book binding correctly, all right? This is not going to be like one of those typical notebooks. This is going to be a very special notebook, and I'm going to teach you how to bind it, okay? All right. You can absolutely get help of this at home. There's no problem at all. The only thing is that please try to not delegate this work, okay? What do I mean by that? Is that if your parents are going to help you, I don't want your parents to do all the work, all right? There's a lot of things in this project that you yourselves can do without any help. Like, for example, folding these pages. It is a very, very easy thing to do. Requires patience, of course, but that's what we need. That's exactly what we need. So, if your parents are going to help you, they can absolutely do it. Be part of this wonderful project. But please try to make sure that you are the one who's in charge of the project, okay? You are the one who's learning right now. And of course, our parents can learn with us. But I need you guys to pay attention to what we are going to do, okay? To be very, very attentive to everything. Because this is going to help us develop some skills that we are going to be using later on in future projects. Right, I'm almost done. There we go. Almost there. There we go. Last one. Beautiful. Okay, now we will have a bunch of folded paper. And what we are going to do is to carefully align it, obviously, because we are going to be working with this very, very neatly. Like that. All right. This isn't going to be our final book. We need to organize this in signatures. So, some of you already know what signatures are. We learned it in class. Some of you maybe didn't pay attention. I'm going to explain it again. Signatures are small books that we are going to be building with 5 pages, all right? So you have to grab 5 pages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are going to put these pages one inside of the other, okay? So 1, there we go, 2, all right, 3, 4, and there we have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is our first signature. We are going to do the exact same thing with the rest of our paper, and then I'm going to teach you how to open the little holes that we are going to punch, and then how we are going to start binding it, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, I forgot how I did it. There we go. I'm just organizing them over here because I don't want them to get dirty or anything. From this little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes. Almost done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turns out I did more than I was supposed to, but that's okay. No worries. We're going to have a very, very big book. And I prefer it this way because that way I can show you the stitch ahead and you're going to have more time to understand it, all right? So I'm going to leave this one. If you're left with one, just like I did, because we did a little bit more, we are going to put it in one of our signatures. It doesn't matter. It's no problem. All right. Now, this is how thick my book is going to be, all right? The next step is going to be very, very simple and very, very fun as well. We are going to grab our signatures. They always have to be aligned. See? So we are going to have our signatures line up perfectly. So you see that this part is where all the pages are, and this part is where all the folds are. So we're going to line it perfectly. Like that. Very beautiful. Oops, once again. I need it to be perfectly lined up. Some people choose to use clamps. I understand that that might be a little bit hard. If it is not, that's no problem. If it is, I would prefer if you use like a heavy book or something. I'm going to be using this one. And I'm just going to put it up here. That way I'll have enough weight to weigh it down a little. And now I am going to grab a marker right behind you. Give me 1 second because I cannot see it here. So I'm going to grab a marker, permanent marker. It doesn't really matter, doesn't make a difference, because this is obviously not going to be visible. So I'm going to measure with my ruler. I'm going to measure my stack and I'm going to determine where the middle is. So this is 30, it's around 50. Give me 1 second because I cannot see very well. All right, this is 22. So half of 22 will be 11, will be around here. And what I'm going to do right now is to grab my ruler like this, and I'm going to trace the same dot that I did on the first signature along all the other signatures, like this. There we go, very good. So if you can see, it is tracing all my other signatures. No one is left behind. And now we are going to do the same right by the end of our stack. Doesn't really matter where you put it. It just, has to mark all of the signatures, all right? And I'm going to do the exact same thing at the beginning of the stack, right here. Oops. There we go. There we go. And I'm going to do another more right in the center of these two lines. Right here. There we go. And another one here. This is going to be very helpful for two reasons. First of all, it's going to teach us and to show us where our binding is going to be, where we are going to start sewing the pages together. And also, it is going to help us know how to tell if our pages are lined up correctly or not. So if you see, I would take one of the signatures and I flip it over, you're going to see that the dots that I just did are not going to align. That means that this one is not in the right position. So we're going to turn it over again. And if it is in the right position, it is going to align perfectly, okay? That's the best way to do it. Now, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to grab our stack and we're going to leave it aside. We are not going to mess up with the signatures. We're not going to do anything to it because we don't want this to be a mess. We are going to grab our tool to puncture it. So I asked for a needle. If you have a needle, make sure it is a big needle. Here I have my needle kit that I keep at my home with me all the time. And I'm going to grab the biggest needle that I can find. Remember that you have to be working in a safe place, in a place where everything is going to be organized, right? If you have somewhere messy to work, then it is not going to work, all right? You are going to lose the needle, everything is going to happen, and it's going to be disastrous. So make sure you are nice and comfortable. And I'm going to grab, my biggest needle, which is this one. I asked you guys for a very, very big needle. It can be one of those needles that is used to sew the, like the bags, the big bags that you put the potatoes in, the costales. Can be one of those, or it can also be one of the plastic needles. That also works as well, it doesn't matter. We only needed to have a very, very sharp edge, because if it does have that, it's going to be easier, all right? So now the next thing we are going to do is to grab each of our signatures, all right? Do you see that I grabbed the entire thing? I didn't grab just the top page, I grabbed the entire signature, and I am going to open it up completely, all right? I grab my little book, open it up, flip it upside down, and usually what I advise the students to do is to grab a jacket or something that's cushiony, so you can put the signature on top of that. And with the needle, you are going to puncture through the signatures, all right? Like that. So if you grab something that's cushiony, let me show you what happens. I am going to grab a little bit of an exaggerated thing to grab, but it's going to work perfectly. So I'm going to put that on top of this, grab my needle, and puncture. Bam, the first one. Bam, the second one. Bam, third one. Fourth one. Fifth one, all right? So I just close it up, and I'm going to put it somewhere else. You need to put it in a different stack, okay, guys? Because if you put it in the same stack, you are not going to know which one you already punctured and which ones you didn't. So you're going to put it in another stack. Now, once again, something cushiony, grab the next signature, open the signature, oops, there we go, flip it, puncture. All right, make sure everything is nice and neat. It's going to be super, super simple if you choose something cushiony. Make sure it is not a water balloon or anything that can make a mess. It has to be something like a pillow, or it can also be like, I don't know, maybe a jacket. If you're going to do this in the school, I'm probably going to advise you to use a jacket. That way it is going to be more comfortable. You don't have to be carrying around maybe cushions or pillows or anything like that. Just use what you have in hand. It is not necessary to use fancy work, fancy tools. Just doing a simple project. So it's going to be super simple process as well. So once again, grab a signature, open it up, and start puncturing. Puncture, 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 and puncture. All right. So if you see, I am taking care of where I'm leaving my needle, guys. It is super important that you have in mind where you have your needle. Can an adult help you in this task? Of course they can, but as well, once again, I need you to be involved in this process, okay, guys? Because otherwise, it's going to be very hard for you to develop strength in your hands. Plus, it is not hard to do. As you can see, I can do this very easily. It's not hard to do. If you did signatures, if you were lazy and did signatures that have more than 5 pages, it's going to be hard. 5 pages is the exact number that we are going to be using because it gives our signature the structure we need. And also, while puncturing is not going to be very hard to puncture, okay? Plus, you can count the signatures that you have and you will know how many pages you have. So for example, if you have 5 signatures of 5 pages, you know that you are going to have 25 pages for a book of 50 pages in total. But if you have 10 signatures, you're going to end up having a book of 100 pages, which is what I'm going to do right now. I prefer doing 100 pages, but you can do 25. You can do 50 pages if you like. 25 pages are not enough pages. And we are going to be needing this, spoiler alert, for our next term, because we are going to be learning about drawing, and we are also going to be doing some art appreciation on our art book that we did ourselves, all right? So it's going to be super, super fun. You're going to enjoy it a lot. And if we work nicely and neat, everything is going to work out. If we have a very messy place, it's not going to work out, I assure you. It's going to be very, very messy and chaotic and just really, really hard to work on everything. All right, once again, this process is not hard to do, it's not dangerous to do, as long as you're working properly, in a proper place. All right. Obviously, do not do it on top of your knees, on your lap, or anything like that, because while puncturing the sheets, you are going to puncture what's underneath it, okay? So make sure it is something that doesn't feel. I don't want you to do it, I don't know, on top of your cat or your dog. Please be nice to nature. All right, the same needle that we are using for puncturing is the same needle that we are going to be using for threading, for sewing, and for binding, okay? So we only need one needle. I know that you saw my entire kit, and yes, I have many needles because I like to sew as well. But we are only going to be using one, okay? Otherwise, it's going to be a mess. Make sure you don't lose your needle. Does it have to be a needle? Yes, it does have to be a needle. Why does it have to be a needle? Because if we use something different, like, I don't know, like, let's say we have a pin that has like a little head on top. It's not going to work. Why? Because we are going to be using the exact same needle for threading later. All right? You can do, maybe some of you in class didn't brought the needle. So, some of you didn't bring the needle, so I told you that you can do it with a very sharpened pencil. That also works, but only for puncturing, all right? Because we are going to be threading. That's what a needle is for. We're going to be sewing. So, we are going to be using our thread in order to put it in our needle and to sew the entire thing together. You can either use normal thread, like this one, or the thread that I sent you in the materials, which I think is better, because it will hold the pages together better, and will be easier to work with. Why? Because it's thicker, and if it is thicker, you are not going to have problem with it getting tangled up, or with it breaking, because trust me, it is hard, and it is very, very difficult when it breaks. All right, I only have 2 more signatures to go. You're going to notice that in the last signature it's going to be hard to puncture, because remember that I put 6 pages on that one, so obviously it's going to be harder to puncture. 5 pages is the right amount of pages that we need for our book, okay guys? So there we go, everything is nice and neat. Here I have our last signature, like that. So puncture. Oh my god, it's going to be hard, not way harder, just a little harder. Oh my gosh, I almost do the hole where it isn't. Try not to work in a rush. I know that maybe sometimes when we are in class it's hard not to work in a rush. But if we do this calmly, it's going to be fine. All right. So if you see, I have all my signatures completely punctured. They are organized. They are very well. They are in the order that they are supposed to be. And now it's the moment of truth. So what are we going to do? I'm going to grab each of these signatures and I am going to sew them together. So I'm going to show you. Give me 1 second. The first thing we need to do is to grab our thread. I am going to be using this normal thread and I'm going to use red so you will see what I am doing. Give me 1 second, please. I got this at the dollar store, at Dollar City, so you don't have to worry about getting expensive thread or expensive needles or anything. This is really, really cheap. It's a very fun project to do, so there's no need for it to be something extra. You just need something really nice and normal. All right, oops, my cat came to visit, say hi. All right, I'm going to be using the red one. I'm going to put the rest ones aside. Give me 1 second. I'm going to check if this is still recording. Yes, it's still recording. All right. So I am going to use my thread and my needle, red thread. I'm going to try not to make a mess with the thread. Remember, don't do spaghetti, as I tell you all the time. This is the thread. You see? I am going to pass it through the eye of the needle. There we go. I don't know if it's focusing or not. I'm going to pass it through the eye of the needle. Sorry, my hair is a little messy. And as you know, I need to wear glasses, so it's a little hard to see the eye of the needle. All right. And I'm going to do about this much, which is about 1 meter long, not more because it's going to get tangled, not less because it's going to be hard. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is to grab my scissors, cut my thread, and I'm just going to make a normal stitching knot right here. You see? No, gracias. I am using normal thread. If you are using normal thread, you can pass it through the eye of the needle, double, as you see right here. Let me check if you're seeing this. So it's a double thread. Sorry. There we go. It's double, all right? It doesn't matter. It's fine. But if you are using this other thread that I also asked for, which I consider that it's better to work with, if you are using this other thread, which is this thread, this one right here, you're only going to need it once. So let me show you how would it be if you are using this thread, okay? Once again, I'm going to grab my second largest needle. Thank you, Noche. Can you move, please? She wants to be the start of the show. Sorry, give me 1 second, please. Oops, there we go. And I'm going to use my second biggest needle, which is this one, I think, and it's not going to be enough. But okay, we can cut the thread here, just a little, just to show you how it would be. There we go. Sorry for this tangent, but it is important so you won't get confused. Noche, no. So I get my thread ready. No. I like to put it in my mouth. That way I can get it to be very nice and neat and pass it through my needle without any problem. Noche. No. Noche. Oops. Drop it. There we go. So the only thing I do is to pass it through the eye of the needle. It's a little bit hard, but it doesn't matter. So right here, I'm not going to pass it double. I'm just going to leave a little tail here. We don't need to knot it or anything because this thread is not going to let it, no, Noche. It's not going to let it strip, it's not going to let it loose, okay? Okay, now that we're in this step, I'm going to do it just with this thread, so you can see. This is the thread that I asked for in the materials. If you didn't get it, if you have normal thread, it also works as well, but you just need to leave it double. If you are going to use this thread the way that I am going to do it right now, you don't need to leave it double. You just need to leave a tail, okay? Like this, a tail. All right? So let me organize everything here because I made a mess. Remember, it's normal to make messes, okay? We are working on projects. Projects tend to get messy, but we need to not worry about that, okay? My cat likes to play. Let me see, 1 second. There we go. She wants to be the center of attention all the time. So once again, I'm going to measure this and make sure that I have just enough. That way it won't get tangled. Although this thread doesn't get tangled as often, which is fine. It's perfect. And I'm using red so you can see it. It's easier to see red than maybe if I used, I don't know, white. It doesn't really matter. Of course, you're going to be able to see the thread at some point when you flip through your book, but it's not going to be very noticeable. So if you want to use a crazy color, it doesn't matter, all right? So the first thing we are going to do is to get our needle to pass. No, just stop it. No, I'm going to have to lock you out. No, this is a disaster. No. All right. So one of my signatures fell down. Noche no más. My God. One of my signatures fell down, but it's okay. It's fine. We're going to stop it, okay? Be nice. All right. So the thing we are going to do is something super simple. We are going to tie a knot at the very end of our thread. So if you see, here I have the needle, and here at the end of the thread, I am going to tie a knot. I'm going to give this to Noche so she can play with it. Noche, 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 Noche. Fetch. Fetch. There we go. So tie a knot. How to tie a knot? Super simple. You're going to grab these 2 fingers. I like to lick them, that way they get more grab. And then grab the thread, loop it once, twice, 3 times. Oops. And then I just roll it. And then with my other finger, I'm just going to pull, okay? So it's a very nasty knot, but I have the security that is not going to roll off. It's not going to puncture through my pages. So that's going to work nicely. And obviously it's not going to be visible, okay? Because I'm going to leave it at the very, very end. So I see here that all my pages are in order, that I have them the right side up. This is going to be our last signature, and I'm going to show you what we have to do. So we have to start from the bottom signal that we did, and then we are just going to thread here, and then go back this way, like this. This is called kettle stitch, all right? So this stitch that we are making, Noche likes to play with this stitch. No more, stop it. This stitch that we are making is going to be very, very discreet, and it's going to allow us to open our book completely, all right? Some books that you open are not perfect. Don't have this stitch, the kettle stitch. They have different stitches, and when you open them, they close once again, so it's not nice. Right here. My cat wants to be the star of the show all the time. Stop it. All right. So, please don't get distracted by the cat. Right here, this hole. If you can see, I missed the hole. and I puncture on the side, but it doesn't matter because it's our first signature. And now the last one. That's right. So you see what we have here? We just saw through the entire signature like this, and this is how it looks from the back. Okay, now what we are going to do is to have this same stitching, but on reverse. What does that mean? Simple. I'm going to grab my needle and reverse it. So from this hole, and then here comes out. And then I'm going to put it through the next hole. And it comes out like this, super simple, super easy. Now through the other hole, like this. And it comes out, super simple, super easy. And last hole, this one. Oops, I'll puncture myself, but it's not going to happen to you, promise. And it comes out. I'm a little nervous because my cat is here looking at me. And I'm like, I don't want you to ruin this, please. All right, once it comes out this way, I am going to tie it like this. So look at what I am doing. I'm going to do a close-up. Give me one little second. I'm going to do a close-up of the knot that we are making. So here, can you see? Yes. This is the close-up of the knot that we're making. So easily, I just pass the needle through this part right here, and then loop the thread around the needle, and then just take the needle out. All right, super easy. We're gonna go back to our position so you can see the entire thing that's going on. Oh, we're watching. Okay, there we go. No, Chair, no! No. No! My cat's pulling the string. She thinks I'm playing. I'm not playing. All right. And now, the only thing that I am going to do is to puncture through the same hole once again. Oops. The same hole once again. And then take all the thread out. All the thread is going to be out. And I am going to pull it just a little bit, just till you hear a pop. Small pop. That is going to tell me that the knot that I did in here, it's out here. Just like, there we go. Yes, fine. Perfect. This is our first signature. Now we are going to go ahead and place the next signature. So what we are going to do with this one is to thread. Give me 1 second, please. No, Noche. No, señora. 1 second, let me just pause it. Oh my God, Noche, no. What are you doing? I'm gonna leave this box here because I see some accidents happening. All right. So I am going to puncture the next hole right here. Perfect. Easy, right? Easy. Oops. See, my thread got tangled because my cat keeps messing with it. But as I am using this thick thread, it's going to be easier. No, just stop it. Stop it. Stop, stop, stop. What do you want? Do you want to play with the thread? Do you want to? Yes? Yes, come to play with the thread. You're the eye candy. But get down from the table, please. There you go. All right. So, once we puncture through, you're going to see that is here. I'm so sorry for my cat. And we are going to puncture back. Stop it. We are going to puncture back. I'm just going to leave her outside. No, she doesn't want to be outside. Dios mío! Stop it. Puncture back through the next hole. All right? This is what it feels to be a teacher, actually. It's chaos. So, nothing different from the classroom. All right. So you see, we punctured here and then we went back. Now that I have it here, the only thing that I'm going to do, it's very simple. I'm going to loop it. Okay, I'm going to make a loop right here. Ay, ay, ay. Canzona. Noche. No más. No más. No más, no más, no más. No más. No, señora. Te voy a sacar. Ven, te saco. Ay, cuidado con la mamá. Sorry. Just going to pause it briefly. I can pause it. Noche. Go away. Noche, 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 noche. Mira, noche, mira. Okay, close the door. All right. Okay. We continue. So, sorry for that. We said that we put our needle through and then we went back in, right? And now I am going to loop it. So, through this part right here and up here. And then, oops. Back inside, all right? My thread is a little tangled, so I just take my time to untangle it. And then once I've looped it, I go back inside. Like that. See? Make sure you have everything nice and tight, because otherwise it's going to be very, very hard. All right? Oops. There's also a video from C Lemon. She's a YouTuber that threads and binds books. And I find it really, really helpful when I maybe get confused. So once again, we go back out. See? Out. Like this. Completely. I read somewhere that cats like the color red and also the color yellow because they are the most visible. So maybe choosing red this time wasn't the best thing to do. So if you see here, my thread got tangled up again. I just take my time to untangle it. I don't know how she comes in. Yes, you are cute. We know. Here and here. There we go. It's better. And then we go back in, tie it up. I'm going to link the video of C Lemon showing you how she does it. Okay? So I am teaching 2 classes of binding. The first one is the easy level, which I'm teaching to 3rd graders. And for the cover, for the easy level, is really simple. That is the last thing we are going to do. So it's going to be super, super simple. This one is going to be the hard level, all right? This book that I'm fabricating right here, that I'm making right here, and that I'm going to bind later, it's going to be the hard level. So hard cover past, hard cover. It's also going to be, there we go, that's right. I wanted to take you through the whole process of how is it done. because I know that sometimes it can be a little bit hard to follow when maybe you have many links and instructions, and if maybe there is some difficulty and you want to do it in more peace at home, it's perfectly fine. You can also do it, doesn't matter, right? Last hole. So I want to take you through the entire process, but obviously I'm going to be linking some videos that explain this step by step way better than I do, because they have like close-up cameras and also better editing. They have more editing time than I do, so it's going to be super helpful for you guys. You can do this at home, no problem. There is no special requirement, just for you to be involved. I am going to know if you are involved in the project or not, because it is normal to have some maybe mistakes. All right, so we finished threading and sewing together these two first signatures. What we are going to do now with the third signature is to do the same process, but we are going to go back this way. All right, and we are not going to loop it with the last strand, but we are going to loop it with the knot that we did. So I'm going to show you, and I'm also going to link the video that explains it better, so you can see how it is done, right? So the first one has no mystery at all. It's just, it goes in and out the other hole. It doesn't matter. It's really easy. Oops. There we go. Out the other hole. Remember to keep everything nice and tight, like that. I'm pulling everything away from my cat. Okay, sorry. So what we're going to do right now is to put it through the knot that we did, okay? The knot, el nudo. No a través del hilo como lo hicimos en la anterior, sino a través del nudo. And then back into the hole. Otra vez por el mismo huequito. Okay. Si no se ha entendido aún, puedo explicarlo otra vez, no hay ningún problema. Entonces, sale por el huequito. Chun, así. Gracias, Noche, por tu ayuda. Lo enredamos en el nudo que hicimos abajo. Así. Tan. No hay necesidad de enredarlo mucho. La idea no es que se te enrede el hilo, sino que sea muy sencillo. Sencillamente lo pasas por detrás del nudo y después otra vez a través del mismo huequito. No, Noche, que te chuzas. A través del mismo huequito. Así. Otra vez afuera de este huequito. Ups. Me metí por donde no era. Fuera de este huequito, eso. Así. No, Noche, gracias. Lo enredo, o sea, lo paso por detrás del nudo que acabo de hacer. Lo saco. Y adentro del mismo huequito. Easy. Una vez más, afuera del huequito, hacia afuera. Lo enredo en el nudo de abajo y como ya no tengo más huequitos, entonces el siguiente huequito al que lo voy a meter es la asignatura de arriba. ¿Listo? Uy, se me enredó con el nudo de abajo, pero no pasa nada. Cojo la siguiente asignatura. Lo meto por el huequito. Ups, metí por el huequito que no era. El huequito, ahora sí. La saco. Listo. La meto por el siguiente huequito. La saco. No, gracias, Noche, no. La paso por detrás del nudo que acabo de hacer. Listo. La meto otra vez por el huequito. Aquí. Es más fácil cuando uno tiene una mano por debajo de la asignatura y la otra por encima. Entonces, afuera de este huequito. Noche, gracias. detrás del nudo que acabo de hacer. No se vayan tan abajo, ¿ok? Sencillamente tiene que ser detrás del nudo que ustedes acaban de hacer. Haciendo ese movimiento, ustedes se van a dar cuenta que naturalmente están dejando otro nudo. Entonces, sencillamente lo que hacemos es irnos por el nudo por el que ya nos habíamos ido. ¿Listo? Acá. Luego metemos por el huequito otra vez. Sacamos por el otro lado. Si quieren usar un dedal está bien. A mí me queda un poquito difícil usar dedal, porque mis dedos son muy chiquitos y siempre se me caen, entonces no es práctico para mí. Este paso lo pueden hacer con ayuda de un adulto, sin embargo, no hay problema si lo hace un niño en un ambiente en el que todo esté limpio y organizado. Esta técnica la aprendí cuando yo estaba en cuarto y pues fue bastante interesante porque todos los niños teníamos nuestras cosas organizadas, nuestros materiales en orden y lo pudimos terminar. Obviamente no faltaba pues de pronto el niño que le daba pereza o se distraía con facilidad, pero pues este fue un proceso que es apropiado para nuestra edad. No hay ningún inconveniente y nos ayuda a desarrollar algunas habilidades motrices finas. Entonces el hecho de poder pasar la agujita en medio de los huequitos y pasar el hilo, y que si el hilo se enreda, pues sin problema lo desenredamos. Todo eso nos ayuda a nuestro aprendizaje motriz. ¿Listo? También nos ayuda a regular la fuerza de nuestras manos. Nuestras manos necesitan tener fuerza, necesitamos desarrollar buena fuerza. Si queremos dibujar, tener buen pulso, incluso tener una buena letra, es necesario que nuestros músculos desarrollen cierta fuerza y cierta memoria muscular de procesos muy sencillos. Entonces es por eso que este proyecto es demasiado práctico y demasiado bueno para todos los niños de esta edad. Gracias. Tú no, para los gatos no. Entonces recuerden, debajo del nudo que ya habíamos hecho y otra vez dentro de la hoja. Siguiente huequito, lo metemos, lo sacamos, detrás del nudo que ya habíamos hecho y otra vez en el huequito. So I'm going to switch to English once again. This part was for maybe the parents that are helping home, that maybe don't speak English. The other parts were very self-explanatory, so that's why I'm explaining this part in Spanish as well. So behind the other knot, back into the hole. Make sure everything is nice and tight, but not too tight, ¿ok? Asegúrense de que todo esté apretadito, pero no lo aprieten mucho. Si lo llegan a apretar mucho, va a ser muy difícil en el momento en el que tengamos que corregir de pronto algún error o si se nos llega a enredar el hilo. It's going to be very, very hard to untie it. All right? So everything nice and tight, but not too tight. All right? We are going to have a moment in which we are going to tie everything up together so it will fall apart. Next signature. Once again, how do we do it? Easy. Through the first hole, out the second hole. Oops, pull it a little bit harder. Then I just pass it through the knot that I already did before. This is another problem. If you make the knot very, very hard, very, very tight, it's going to be harder to pass to get the nail to go through back from the hole that you already did. Once again, back in the same hole, out again. So if you see here, I'm running out of thread. There is no problem. The only thing that I'm going to do is to finish this signature and then attach my next thread. I'm going to show you how. So stick with me. Through the back hole, Once again, I'm going to do it as many times as possible, obviously because I need to finish the book, but also explain it as many times as possible so you will understand. Oh, sorry, back through the same hole. So you will understand how it is done, all right? Explain it once again. So outside this hole, oops, sorry. You see, even the teacher makes mistakes. It's no problem. Just take the time to correct them and we can move on. So behind the other knot that we already did, back on the same hole, pull it like that. Once again, out the last hole, and I'm going to teach you a little secret. So you have to finish your signature if you want to continue with the next thread, because now this thread is not going to be enough for me to make the next signature. So the only thing that I'm going to do is to take it behind the other knot, and then I am going to tie it. I'm going to explain this part in Spanish as well. Si se dan cuenta, no tengo suficiente hilo para hacer la siguiente signatura. Entonces lo que voy a hacer sencillamente es hacer lo mismo que hice. Terminé la asignatura y en la última parte voy a hacer un nudo. Entonces, ¿qué hago? Enredo mi aguja detrás de esto, ya, hasta que tenga así como una orejita y la colita. Y luego lo que voy a hacer es enredar la orejita en la aguja varias veces. Por ahí unas 3 está bien. Y luego lo único que hago es jalar y se hace el nudito solo. Y ya, con un poquito de práctica podemos romperlo así como lo acabo de romper yo. Bien. Pueden hacer que el nudo quede aún más apretadito, jalándolo un poquito más. O si lo prefieren, pues obviamente también pueden utilizar las tijeras, no hay ningún problema. Ahora, si se dan cuenta, me quedó una colita. ¿Listo? Es necesario que quede esa colita, es súper importante que quede la colita. Lo que voy a hacer es coger el resto de mi hilo, que lo tiene mi gata. Aquí está. Cojo el resto de mi hilo y lo amarro con esa colita. ¿Listo? Fácil. No importa si el nudo queda feo, no importa si queda grande, porque finalmente va a estar en la espina de nuestro libro. Ya nuestros niños saben cuál es la espina de nuestro libro, que es la parte de atrás de nuestro libro. ¿Listo? Va a quedar aquí. Entonces esta cubierta que le vamos a hacer por acá va a tapar todos esos errores que tenemos. No hay problema si queda feo, no pasa nada. Este es el lugar en donde podemos cometer errores. ¿Listo? Voy a hacerle varios nudos para que no tenga ya ningún inconveniente, sino que pueda continuar. Perfecto. Listo. Ahora mido. Mi gata enredó el hilo, obviamente, pero no pasa nada. Hizo espagueti. Ya sabemos que cuando hacemos algo espagueti nos toca tomar el tiempo de desenredarlo, porque continuar va a ser muy difícil. Y lo que hago yo, me gusta medir 1 metro con una marquita que tengo aquí, justo acá, alrededor de 1 metro, no tiene que ser 1 metro exacto. Corto, snap, snap, déjame un poquito más para la colita. Listo, dejo el resto del hilo por allá, donde mi gata no lo pueda ver. Y vuelvo a enhebrar la aguja con el hilo. Una vez más, si están utilizando hilo normal, entonces sí necesito que el hilo quede doble, porque o si no, este hilo el hilo normal se nos va a romper muy fácilmente en los momentos en los que hagamos los nudos. Si están utilizando el hilo que yo pedí, que es este hilo, que es hilo de bordar, entonces no va a ser necesario hacerlo doble, sino solamente, una vez más, metemos el hilo a través de nuestra agujita. Ahí. Me gusta lamberlo un poquitito, chuparlo un poquito para que se peine. Ahí otra vez. Entonces, enhebro el hilo en la agujita, así. Justo así. Perfecto. La profe ya no ve. como este hilo es más grueso, no va a haber problema, no se nos va a soltar. Entonces lo único que hago es dejarle una colita chiquitita. ¿Ven? Le dejo una colita chiquitita. Aquí. ¿Listo? No se me va a soltar, no va a pasar nada. Con el hilo normal sí se me va a soltar y es por eso que es importante jalar esa colita y hacerlo doble. ¿Listo? Y hacerle un nudo por aquí. ¿Listo? Continuamos, nuestra siguiente asignatura. Si se dan cuenta que tengo todas mis asignaturas en orden, es importante tenerlas en orden porque si no, imaginen que yo coja esta asignatura acá. Ya no me va a quedar alineado como están el resto de las asignaturas, sino que me va a quedar por acá. Y ya el resto de los nudos no van a tener sentido. Entonces es importante tenerlas en orden, que todo coincida, que todo esté alineado. Y una vez más, adentro del primer huequito, la abro, la saco, así, afuera del segundo huequito, así, chan. Listo. Recuerden, esta es la parte del text block. Text block es todo lo que sea las páginas, donde se va a escribir en nuestro cuaderno. La parte de la cubierta o de la portada es un proceso completamente diferente que se va a añadir a nuestro text block. No importa si se hace la cubierta primero, no importa si se hace la portada primero o si se hace el text block primero, no importa, no pasa nada. Lo único es que obviamente pues, los dos estén listos para el final, para que pues se pueda unir sin ningún problema, ¿listo? Entonces sacamos aquí normal, paso la aguja detrás, por detrás, del nudo que ya había hecho, la saco, jalo un poquito, abro el text block, la asignatura, perdón, y lo meto otra vez. Lo saco por el huequito, saco por el siguiente huequito, enredo detrás del nudo, hice esos nudos muy apretados y es difícil sacarlos. No los vayamos a hacer tampoco muy flojos, por favor, porque si nos queda flojos se nos va a enredar. Y enredarse es muy complejo. Este hilo que les pedí es mejor porque se enreda menos al ser más grueso. Sin embargo, si hacen los nuditos muy sueltos, se va a enredar igualmente y va a tocar que tomen de su tiempo para desenredarlo. Se va a perder tiempo, nos vamos a estresar y ya se va a perder todo el propósito de esto. Por ejemplo, aquí se me enredó, ¿ven? Lo único que hago es tomarme el tiempo de desenredarlo, ver en dónde está el problema, con paciencia y con calma. Me puedo ayudar de la aguja para intentar desenredarlo, no pasa nada. Tranquilos. Eso. Y ya. Listo. Ya, muy bien. Detrás del nudo anterior. Así, lo saco. Perfecto. De vuelta en el huequito. Eso. Así queremos que suene. Y afuera del último huequito. Paciencia, no hay necesidad de hacerlo rápido, no hay necesidad de estresarse, de alarmarse, de afanarse, no hay necesidad de nada de eso. ¿Listo? Ya. Easy. Siguiente asignatura. Bueno, como les estaba contando, este es el proceso que se utiliza tanto para la clase que se está dando en cuarto como para la que se está dando en tercero. En tercero solo necesito que tengan el text block y la portada la vamos a hacer en clase porque va a ser súper sencilla, va a ser una portada sencilla y va a ser pues flexible, como de pronto tenga por ahí algún, bueno, como los cuadernos que ustedes típicamente conocen. En cuarto, a diferencia de tercero, vamos a hacer una portada dura, que tenga relieve, ¿listo? Estas no tienen relieve, no tengo algún libro por aquí que tenga relieve, pero si se dan cuenta, estas son portadas duras y los libros se pueden abrir completamente. Entonces, esto es lo que vamos a hacer, ¿listo? Para cuarto. Este que yo estoy haciendo, obviamente el tutorial sirve tanto para tercero como para cuarto, en el text block. La portada de tercero va a ser diferente a la de cuarto. Entonces, por eso, a tercero ya no le serviría la segunda parte de este video, pero a cuarto sí. ¿Listo? Listo. Lo saco acá. Tercero necesita solamente 25 páginas para hacer todo esto, para que nos quede un libro de 50 hojas mínimo. Si quieren usar 50 hojas, digo 50 páginas para que nos queden 100 hojas, se puede hacer, no hay ningún problema, no hay restricción a la creatividad. Pero pues lo mínimo es 25. Para cuarto, en cambio, sí necesito que ya tengamos las 50 hojas. ¿Listo? Porque al hacer un libro así con portada dura, si nos queda chiquito, como que pierde el sentido. La idea de este stitching es que a pesar de que el libro sea muy grande y muy como lleno de mucho relleno, aún así sea resistente y que la portada no se nos dañe fácilmente. Alerta de spoilers. Ese va a ser el libro que vamos a estar utilizando el próximo periodo, entonces es importante hacerlo. Bueno, el próximo periodo van a venirse muchas sorpresas porque vamos a hacer un poquito de apreciación de arte, vamos a aprender técnicas de dibujo, vamos a llevar como un diario de campo de arte. Entonces va a ser algo muy, muy chévere. Y lo vamos a hacer en este mismo libro que hicimos nosotros. Y lo mejor de todo es que obviamente son ustedes quienes se van a quedar con este libro. Este proyecto está muy chévere. Es muy obsesivo, ese es el único disclaimer que tengo. Es un proyecto muy obsesivo. Ya cuando yo estaba como en... Bueno, esto lo aprendí a hacer en cuarto, no sé, lo recuerdo muy bien, porque me cambiaron de colegio. Y ya cuando estaba como en noveno, creo, ya llegaba al punto en el que yo hacía todos mis cuadernos. Entonces, era muy chévere, era muy chévere ver cómo todos decían como, wow, ¿dónde compraste ese cuaderno? Yo decía, no, yo lo hice. Y experimentaba con muchas técnicas que encontraba por internet y cositas así. Entonces, obviamente, algunos de mis cuadernos se desarmaban completamente, pero otros sí seguían intactos hasta final de año. Y yo podía hacerlos como quisiera, con hojas cuadriculadas, con hojas de colores, con, como habíamos visto en TikToks con los niños, también se pueden utilizar café para teñir las hojas. Entonces cuando tengan el textbook le echan así una taza de café preparado y queda todas las hojas como si fueran hojas antiguas. Entonces es muy, muy chévere. Esto también es una técnica que se utiliza para restaurar libros antiguos. Entonces, como yo les decía, muchos de los libros tienen este mismo stitching precisamente para que duren mucho tiempo. Y ya después de un tiempo, los libros que son muy, muy antiguos, se les cae la portada, no sé, de pronto la contraportada se comienza a dañar. Entonces lo que se hace es quitar todo. A veces se comienza a pudrir el hilo también, dependiendo de las condiciones en las que tengan el libro. Entonces lo que hacen los restauradores pues es obviamente quitar, desarmar casi todo el libro completo, dependiendo de la condición del libro. Y volver a hacer todo el stitching, a poder ponerles la contraportada, a poder añadir los químicos necesarios para que las hojas no pierdan su adherencia a la espina. Uy, este lo hice muy duro. Bueno, Y aquí volvemos. Listo. Si se dan cuenta, ya comienza a tener más cara todo nuestro libro. Obviamente en este momento estoy teniendo el libro al revés, ¿no? Es importante notar eso. Entonces, ahorita le damos la vuelta, le damos la cara que es y comenzamos a añadir la portada. Este primer video solamente tiene el text block, ¿listo? Que es lo que nos sirve tanto para tercero como para cuarto. Nuestro siguiente video va a tener solamente cómo se hace la portada con relieve en cuarto, ¿listo? Así que algunos papitos are concerned, se preocupan de pronto un poco por ese proceso, pero no pasa nada. Con mucho gusto les informo y les explico cómo hacer esa maravillosa portada y sé que hasta a ustedes les va a gustar mucho todo el proceso. Es un poquito engorroso, pero tenemos todo un periodo para terminar, no pasa nada. Listo. Noche, no vayas a botar las maticas. Mi gata se robó el show. No, señora. Así, y así. Y afuera de este. Así. Ya. Y después otra vez adentro. Así. Listo. Siguiente asignatura. Ya después de que uno le coge el ritmo, es muchísimo más fácil hacer todo. No muerdas eso, Noche. Yo no sé qué le dio hoy a mi gata. Siempre es tranquila y hoy está queriendo llamar la atención del público. Detrás del nudo, así. No importa hacia qué dirección sea, no importa si lo hacen así o así, da lo mismo. Solo que yo siento que para mí es mejor hacerlo así. Pero pues es igual, no pasa nada. Por acá, y vuelta. Ay, por acá sí es. ¡Ah! No, señora. Perdón por el caos de antes cuando Noche estaba queriendo jugar, es que le gusta jugar. Bueno, sale por acá. Lo metemos por aquí. Así ya. Ahora sí. Ay. Ese es el problema de hacerlos muy apretados. Pero bueno, prefiero que queden un poquito apretados y me demore un poquito sacándolo y no que queden flojos y después se me desarme el libro. O se me enrede el hilo. Por acá, la siguiente. Así. Pueden ir haciéndolo a medida que yo lo estoy haciendo. No pasa nada. Noche, no. Pueden regañar a su gato a medida que yo regaño el mío. Oye, ya. Entonces, si sus hojas son de pronto un poquito sensibles, un poquito, no sé, delgadas, no pasa nada, no hay ningún problema. Eso que estoy utilizando yo en este momento son hojas normales. Si deciden utilizar hojas pergamino, perfecto, súper bien. No pasa nada. De pronto, si usan hojas que son muy gruesas, como hojas, bueno, las hojas acuarela no hay ningún problema, pero si usan, digamos, no sé, algún tipo de cartón o decidieron buscar alguna hoja que sea muy creativa, no sé, pues pueden hacer las asignaturas de menos páginas. ¿Listo? No pasa nada. No hay ningún problema. Una vez más. Yo hice más de 50 hojas, estoy segura, pero bueno, no pasa nada. Con tal de que pueda explicar este paso varias veces, no pasa nada. afuera por acá. Ya se me va a acabar esta también, no pasa nada. No pasa nada, siempre hay una solución para todo. Podemos ir haciendo este proceso en casa o sencillamente hacerlo en clase. Podemos ver este video en casa y hacer el proceso en clase, o hacerlo en casa y las dudas que hayan o las cosas en las que necesitemos ayuda las hacemos en clase. Ups, no pasa nada. Listo. Como nosotros queramos está bien. El arte es una cuestión muy progresiva y pues cuando se tratan de proyectos tan ambiciosos es importante dedicarles un buen tiempo. Así sea con total concentración en el tiempo que tenemos en clase, o un poquito más calma y perecita en el momento en el que estamos en casa. ¿Listo? Se cose así súper bien. Otra vez lo metemos por el siguiente huequito, lo sacamos, así, oye, detrás del nudo, así, esto, lo sacamos, otra vez por el mismo huequito, ya, por el último huequito, lo sacamos. Este hilo no me va a alcanzar para la siguiente asignatura, si se dan cuenta. Entonces lo que voy a hacer es añadirle más. Entonces otra vez lo paso por detrás. ¿Listo? Como normalmente lo haría, eso me va a dar un loop y una colita. Loop, colita. Y lo que hago ahora es coger el loop, lo enredo en la aguja 3 veces. 1, 2, 3. Y jalo la aguja. ¿Listo? ¿Sí se dan cuenta cómo nos queda de maravilloso? Listo. Lo que puedo hacer es, esto es mucha colita, entonces lo recortamos. Que nos quede una colita, pero no tan grande. Voy a recortarlo por aquí. Estas tijeras ya están perdiendo su filo. Listo. Siguiente. Ya estamos por terminar. Aquí. Entonces, amarro. Amarro una vez más. Que lo voy a hacer como 3 nudos por ahí. Que me quede fuerte. Listo. Perfecto. Lo acerco un poquito más a la base. Y mido el metro. Ahí. Espagueti. Mido el métrico. Así. Hasta la marquita que tengo por acá. Y lo corto. Justo aquí. Eso. Ahí me queda mi espagueti para ahorita por si necesito más. ¿Sí ven cómo nos está quedando nuestro maravilloso libro? Está perfecto. Listo. Otra vez. Lo enhebro en la aguja. Ay, Dios mío, la profe necesita nuevas gafas. Ya. Eso. Ay. Entró uno de los hilitos, pero no todo, y se me despelucó. Si se nos despeluca, como a mí me pasó, podemos recortar, así. O quemar un poquito, para que no haya problema. Obviamente quemar sería con la ayuda del adulto, ¿no? Noche no. Te pone bravo. Eso. que me va a empezar a quemar un poquito. Entonces corto otra vez el pedacito que se me despelucó. Y eso. Lo peino con mi salivita. Y luego, aquí que tengo una velita prendida y lista, lo acerco solo un poquito, solo un momento. ¿Listo? Ese punto sería con la ayuda de un adulto, por favor, no vayan a hacerlo solitos. Si estamos en clase, pues obviamente voy a ser yo quien enhebre las agujas. Si están utilizando hilo normal, va a ser mucho más fácil enhebrarlas. No pasa nada, nos tomamos nuestro tiempito, no hay afán. Ay. Está despelucado porque las agujas no, sino las tijeras ya perdieron filo. Eso, si corto con unas buenas tijeras no me va a pasar eso. Y enhebro otra vez. Ay, se me cayó. Voy a quemar otro poquito. Quemo aquí otro poquitito. Eso. Ay, tiene mis polleros. Eso. Listo. Ahí. Eso, perfecto. Gracias, Noche, por tu colaboración. Tu presencia fue lo que me ayudó a enhebrar la aguja. No, ya no más. No más colaboración. Ven para aquí. Ay, Dios mío, te cogí muy horrible, perdón. Ven para allá, eso. Listo, siguiente asignatura. La abrimos. No. No, 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 no. No, señora. Dale. Espérame otra vez. Para allá, para allá, para allá, para allá. Para allá. Ya quiere jugar. Ya no más juegos. Preciso, terminando la asignatura. Aquí. Listo. Entonces, ¿dónde está mi aguja? Aquí está. Listo, perfecto. Recuerden, lo hacemos todo con una sola aguja, por favor. Listo. Other hole. Este huequito por aquí, hacia afuera. Eso. Eso. Tenemos por acá. Detrás. Ay. Revisamos esto. Sí, sigue grabando. Gracias a Dios. Bueno. Uy, se despelucó un poquito. Pero bueno, no pasa nada. Dentro del mismo huequito. Así. Creo que esta vez exageré con el hilo y tengo mucho hilo ahora. Pero no pasa nada. Tengan cuidado con la colita, que quede lo suficientemente larga para que no se les vaya a salir, por favor. Como ya se dieron cuenta, no es imposible enhebrar este hilo en la aguja, solo se necesita un poquito de paciencia, ¿de acuerdo? Si la aguja que tienen es grande, mejor. Si tienen una aguja muy pequeña, no nos sirve, necesitamos una más grande en donde se pueda enhebrar el hilito. Si les llega a pasar como a mí acá, que hice el nudo muy grueso, lo que puedo hacer es pasar la hoja. ¿Sí? Un momento. Así, cuchún. paso la hoja y la devuelvo por donde la metí. Y ya. Eso equivale al mismo loop que hacemos siempre, solo que como quedó muy duro, entonces me tocó pasar la hojita, pero no pasa nada. Todo está bien. De vuelta acá, lo sacamos. Nos aseguramos de que nuestra gata no coge el hilo. Lo sacamos por el otro huequito. Aquí. Por debajo de este. Listo. Así, perfecto. Lo amarramos bien. Lo sacamos por aquí. Perfecto. Lo sacamos por el último huequito. Nos faltan solo 4 asignaturas más. Bueno, a mí me faltan 4 asignaturas más. Estoy segura que ustedes ya terminaron. Eso. Perfecto. Listo, así, perfecto. Vamos a la siguiente asignatura. Un poquito adentro. Uy. Es un huequito indeseado aquí. No pasa nada. Sale por el segundo huequito. Ay. Hoy he estado pintando y trabajando en muchas cosas y mi mano ya se siente cansadita. Pero no es un proceso difícil, se los prometo. Es un proceso fácil. Bueno, por acá, por favor. Aquí, justo aquí. Gracias, Noche, por tu presencia. Ya. Eso lo logramos. Esa colita. Enredo. Ya, listo. Pasamos por el último. Creo que voy a dejar hasta aquí. No hasta aquí, de hasta aquí. Esta va a ser la última asignatura que voy a hacer, porque quiero reservar esa para explicar en clase cómo se hace. Entonces, sacamos por acá. Metemos por acá. Listo. Estas últimas las hice muy apretadas. No pasa nada. No pasa nada. Listo. Otra vez el mismo truco de antes. Metemos por acá y sacamos por acá. Ya. No pasó nada. Todo tiene solución en esta vida. Lo metemos por el piquito. Sacamos por este otro huequito. Eso. Lo metemos por detrás del nudo. Este fue el nudo que se nos despelucó en la anterior. Entonces voy a hacerlo como hacemos nuestro truco típico, porque sé que va a ser difícil. Y apretamos un poquito más, lo volvemos a meter por el huequito, lo sacamos, metemos por el último. Sí, sonido de trompeta. Ya estamos por terminar. Sí, bien. Y nuestro último huequito. Perfecto. Cuando terminemos, vamos a hacer lo mismo que hacemos como cuando cambiamos el hilo. Entonces, nos queda el loop y la colita. Esta es una colotota. Y el loop Lo enredamos en la aguja. Esta vez voy a hacerlo 5 veces porque quiero que este sea un nudo grande y victorioso. Y jalamos con fuercita, pero no mucha. La suficiente como para que no se nos enrede, pero no mucha porque si no se nos totea. ¿Listo? Y si lo prefieren, podemos hacer otro nudo encima de ese solamente para estar seguros. Entonces otra vez. Detrás, aquí enredo, colita, loop. Y enredo el loop. Esta vez solo 3 veces. 1, 2, 3. Listo. Y jalamos. Las abuelas que estén por ahí nos ayudan a hacer este nudo. Este nudo es típico en la costura. Listo. Y con las tijeras cortamos. Perfecto. Listo. Terminamos. Este es nuestro text block. Si se dan cuenta, nuestras páginas no se nos van a caer. No le va a pasar absolutamente nada. Y también cuando queramos dibujar, escribir, hacer alguna anotación, alguna entrada, solamente abrimos las hojas y están completamente flat, completamente planas. Así. ¡Oh, qué maravilla! Miren eso. Si nuestras hojitas nos quedaron bien dobladas, esto nos va a quedar alineado. No perfectamente alineado, pero alineado. ¿Listo? Eso es todo por ahora. Este es nuestro text block. Esta es la que nos sirve para tercero, pero también para cuarto. Gracias por su ayuda. Gracias por todo. Ahora les voy a enseñar cómo hacer la siguiente parte. Pero eso en un siguiente video. No queremos que esto sea aún más largo. Gracias, amigos. Los quiero muchísimo. Miren cómo nos quedó maravilloso. Una vez más, les voy a mostrar los links a todas los recursos que podemos acceder para tener de pronto más detalle de cada uno de los procesos. Y ya, eso es todo. Muchas gracias. Adiós.